The NBA doesn't sleep. I was thinking about this actually, not to totally ADD this intro. My daughter has officially been alive through an entire NBA offseason.
Quinny C, congrats, you guys
Quinny
did it.
Quinny Yeah, we made it through a whole NBA offseason. Because I remember during the finals, was, like, right around when she was born, and I remember watching the last few games with her, like, on my feet, at, like, what, 10, 11 at night when she wasn't sleeping, and it's like, "Alright, well, neither of us are sleeping tonight, so let's just go put on the NBA and hang out," you know?
It really was fitting in hindsight, looking back at just when you started your paternity leave, if you will, that it was right after the Sixers lost. Like it truly was
Yeah.
perfect in terms of like, there you go, right off into the night, enjoy
Uh,
the finals, get to
right.
get back to earth, have the kid, and then be back and ready for the off season. But no, yeah, I mean, we'll have by the time we get to next episode, and that's when I'll do the whole woo, like welcome to our 11th
We
season,
here
all that
yeah.
stuff. We're happy to be back. But yeah, we'll have real NBA basketball being played, and that kind of gets us into the preview. For a little bit of housekeeping, thank you everybody for dealing with us for the delay a little bit here. It is completely my fault. Justin and I were literally recording last Tuesday, so this is October 18th. And I had a family emergency come up, and all
It
is well.
happens. Yeah.
We were in the middle, like literally, I think we were 8 of 9 on a grid. And low key, we would have probably got the last one wrong. So maybe that
Yeah,
saved us from ourselves.
do you remember what the team was? I wanna call myself out for not knowing it.
It
It
was
was
Wizards and Timberwolves, I think.
and I guessed Otto Porter Jr., I think.
Okay. I would have known that was wrong, but my guess was also wrong. My guess, I went real in the woods. I think I went with like Jan Vesley or something, or Jan Vesey.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, that didn't work either. I think those were the teams. Anyway, I was gonna drop it honestly. If it was a completed grid, I probably would have just to have it held over. But life happens. But we appreciate you guys, and we're ready to rock. We got a pretty jam packed episode. We're gonna talk Western Conference, do a pretty just preview and deep dive into the whole conference. And then a couple of quick hitters as well. Peyton Pritchard's got a new deal in Boston. The Hornets have waived Kai Jones. Miles Bridges is in trouble again. But I mean, look, we've been talking about it. There's only one way to start this off, right?
Of course, we gotta do a grid because we didn't finish the last one, and I'm not giving us like, I'm gonna say, like, we got all but one. Like, that's
Yeah, I
really
don't count that as a perfect. No way. I mean,
no, no,
nobody.
definitely not.
Maybe I'll drop it after. So maybe after this episode is out and I'll have a clean conscience and we've talked about it. Maybe I'll drop it and so you can see what we were working on. But like, it's not finished. Like I'm telling you, it's going to end on a very abrupt note. So it's just a little unfortunate. But all right. So for the podcast listeners, taking a look at the grid right now. Also watch the show on YouTube again. That's where you'll see the video version of this. But for all our audio listeners, starting from left to
You
right.
can Sorry, it looks like they added something. Look, you can tap on the logo or category for help.
Oh, that stinks. So we're not going to do that. I mean, I'll look at it later, but like I really, or we'll do that for one.
Yeah, I'm just curious as to,
Oh,
uh,
it's saying like what the
uh,
teams could be.
I guess Lakers. Yeah, I don't get that. Okay, never mind. Sorry, not to divert, but it looks like it. I don't know. That's
Well, so
weird.
for the Kings, that'd be interesting, for example, because like the Kings were the Royals back in the day.
Oh yeah, is it maybe giving?
That's my guess is that they're just telling you what years you have to play around with, because I could see some confusion there, like
Oh,
with
it's
the
like
Charlotte teams as well.
it must be achieved in a season with that team. So this is just clarifying
Okay.
what. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. So
All right.
like you were saying for the Kings, all these iterations of the Sacramento Kings work for an answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, okay.
And fun
That makes
fact, they
sense.
won their only title in Rochester. This is the Rochester Royals in franchise because they do have one.
That's
But
why.
yeah, many moons ago. But yeah, so from the columns from left to right across the top, you've got the Phoenix Suns on the left, you've got the Kings in the middle, and you've got all NBA on the right. And then the rows from top to bottom, you've got the Knicks, you've got the Spurs, and you've got the Lakers. I mean, the All NBA first impression is probably the easiest for all three of these. I have definitive 100% answers. I think those will be ones where we're going more for the rarity score than anything. I feel good so far. And there's no, I mean, look, every time there's a Sixers column, I feel like that's giving you and I a boost that we don't need. So I definitely like the challenge.
I feel like I know this one here, Kings and Spurs, right? Rudy Gay is an easy one.
Rudy Gay is an easy one. That works. And we bring him up a lot. So
It's probably
yes.
going to be, I would imagine this is a higher percentage. Yeah, 42%.
Yeah, okay.
Probably one of the more common answers on that grid there.
Yeah, I didn't really have a chance to think about that one a ton. I'll get back to that. I'll look at who else we might have gone with
What if,
otherwise.
was Rondo ever on the Spurs?
No, Rondo was
Okay.
never on the Spurs. Definitely on the
Yeah.
Kings, not on the
Yeah.
Spurs.
I knew Kings. I was wondering if there was maybe like a weird, like he was there for a day or two.
So for Lakers and Kings, there's an obvious one.
Rondo.
In, yeah, you're right. Actually, you know what? You're not wrong. And it'll probably have my obvious one is Vlad. Oh my God! As I knock my microphone over, hello. You think I would know the depths of this desk by now? No, the obvious one for me is Vladdy Divac, because
Oh,
he was
yeah.
part of the trade. But I do like Rondo there. I think Rondo will have a lower percentage, and honestly, I don't think he worked because Rondo never played for Phoenix, and he never played for the
The
Knicks.
Knicks.
And so,
No.
yeah, there's nowhere else it's going to work. So, yeah, I'm down. I'm using Rondo there for sure.
Oh, hold on. Ron. There he is. Here we go at an 8%.
8%.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah,
That's
no,
pretty
that's a
low.
good one.
That's good.
I don't think the Kings tenure is really. I mean, he won the title with the Lakers, so I think
Yeah.
that one's a little more memorable. But yeah, he was not bad on the King. Rondo had weird years with certain franchises because he was so like I remember he went to Dallas post Boston, and
Yeah.
that was supposed to be a great trade for them, and it was a disaster. It couldn't have
Yeah.
gone worse. And then he kind of bounced around for a while in a lot of 1 year deals, but he was
Mhm.
pretty solid for his 1 year in Sacramento. Okay, so you've got Lakers, Suns, you've
I'm
got
honestly surprised we are filling out the Kings column essentially first.
yeah, well, yeah, because it's probably the hardest, honestly. I'm trying to think of a Kings and Knicks one to end
Did
this.
did Boogie ever play on the Knicks towards
Boogie
the
did
end?
not play on the
No.
Knicks. Other Kings that could have played on the Knicks. Oh, you know who I think played on the Knicks for a little bit towards the end of his career? That definitely was a King. I'm pretty sure Mike Bibby played on the Knicks, so I think Mike Bibby
Mike
works there.
Bibby. Okay. You wanna
Um,
do it?
Yeah, because it gives me the opportunity to bring up Mike Bibby has an all-time NBA sneaker collection, and he won't let anyone in the vault, essentially. Like, he's let people inside it, but it's strictly like, most of these, like PJ Tucker, for example, has allowed people to take pictures of his collection. Like, you kind of know what it looks like. All the
Yeah.
other top sneaker guys have. Dude, Bibby's got stuff in there that is unreleased and has probably never been seen at this point.
That's cool.
It's
All
under
right.
like thumbprint lock. Like there's only 34%. Wow. I mean, he
Yeah,
was really
Bibby's
good
got
on the Kings, so I can't say I'm surprised from the Kings element, but um, yeah, a little more surprised that people remembered him there with the Knicks like that. But yeah, it's really secretive. I mean, obviously, I hope one day that we get to see a little bit of what that looks like. But
yeah,
Bibby
for
was one of the
real.
Jordan athletes, so I think he's got a lot of retro exclusives.
So, do we wanna work on the team angle or the all NBA angle? Because the all NBA angle is where we're gonna try to get the lower percentages,
All right,
I would
so
imagine.
for the Spurs, I want to go boomer with it because the all NBA angles, I mean, Tim Duncan's the obvious one. David Robinson is an easy one. Kawhi
Yeah.
Leonard is an easy one.
Tony
Uh,
Parker,
Tony Parker, I'm
Ginobili.
pretty sure Ginobili was too. How about George Gervin, though, the Iceman? Let's go back a little bit. Great score for them. I mean, until David Robinson, like by far the best player in franchise history.
13% is kinda surprising.
Dude, Iceman deserves some love.
Yeah.
Underrated player in NBA Street Volume 2 as well, but that's neither here
Oh,
nor there.
damn, dude, throwing it back. Yeah, you're right.
But okay, so to reset for everybody, so we're about halfway through. Our Kings column is done. Mike Bibby for the Knicks and the Kings, Rudy Gay for the Spurs and the Kings, Rajon Rondo for the Lakers and Kings, and we just got George Gervin for the Spurs at All NBA. I mean, the Lakers, it's like pick your poison. You got 9
Yeah.
zillion to choose from for the Lakers for All NBA. For the Knicks, I'm trying to remember if Stoudemire was all NBA his first year there. I mean, Carmelo Anthony is the easy one.
Yeah.
Patrick Ewing is another easy one. And after that, it gets a little more difficult. Like that's where you can start to get you can start to get a little weird with it and pull up some more obscure guys. I mean, if you want to go back in the day, like I would imagine Willis Reed is one.
Do you think do you think Tyson Chandler did it?
No. All
Not during
NBA?
the
No,
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 not
no.
during the time he was there.
Tyson Chandler, did he play in Phoenix though? I think he did.
Oh, yeah,
Because I
right?
was going to use Stoudemire is the easy one for Knicks and Suns, but I'm pretty sure Tyson Chandler played in Phoenix too.
You want to do it?
Yeah, I do.
Should we do it?
Yeah, I do.
Tyson Chandler. Yep.
Yeah,
Oh,
okay, 6%.
6%. Good
Nice.
call.
Yeah,
Good
definitely
call.
the Knicks.
Taking my guess and just diverting it a little bit.
No, you were in the right place because I want to use Stoudemire for this All NBA one for the Knicks. I think because it was such a good half of the year and then he kind of got hurt a little bit, but he was
Yeah.
borderline MVP that first year with the Knicks.
STOU, right? Yeah.
Yep.
You want to go for it?
Yeah, I think so. All right.
3%. Wow.
Okay, all right. I feel good about that. Yeah, that first season there
Suns.
was electric. He really, like I said, he was an MVP candidate that first
Yeah.
half of the year.
Oh,
He got
you know,
hurt towards the end, but still, he was phenomenal year.
you know who we could do Lakers Suns? We could go Steve Nash.
Yeah, Steve Nash is. Yeah, that makes. I mean, I'm sure Lakers fans want to probably forget that happened, but that
But
will 100% be on there.
yeah, you want to do it, or you think we can go lower?
Did JaVale McGee played for the Suns, right?
Oh, I think so. And could we go any of the Morrises? Because they were both on the Suns.
Oh,
right?
Yeah. Keith played there, didn't he?
For the
Marcus?
Lakers?
No.
They both were on the Suns. It's just which one ended up on the Lakers.
Keith played for the Lakers because I thought Keith was on the title team that won.
So all right, so what do we want to do here? Do we go Keith? Do we go safe?
I like Keith more than
Yeah.
I like Markieff Morris more than Steve Nash will 100% be right, but I think it's going to have a high score.
All right.
Markieff was on the title team. Like I feel good about that.
Oh,
wow. Okay. All right.
0.8.
I think Marcus would have worked too.
Did he? I'll look it up.
I'm going to look it up now. Yeah. I think Marcus would have. No, Marcus did not play. I know he played for the Clippers. He's on the Clippers now. I thought he had a year with the Lakers there too, but I guess not. Okay, so that is good. Keith definitely did. Who was the other player? Oh, JaVale McGee. I want to look JaVale McGee up real quick because he's not going to be used anywhere else.
And while you're looking that up, I'll reset for us because we still need a Spurs Suns connection.
Mm-hmm.
And then we obviously have a ton of options with our Lakers All NBA connection. We just got to figure out which one we want to do.
Well, I feel good because we're gonna perfect this. So we're going 9 for 9. There's no question about it. JaVale McGee would have worked in that corner, by the way.
Okay.
So
good to know.
I obviously love the Markieff Morris guess. That's a really good one.
That was
as well.
huge.
All right. So for Lakers All NBA, let's just get this out of the way because this one's real chalky, and we can run through our litany of options. So you could do Elgin Baylor. You could do Jerry West. You could do Magic Johnson. You could do James Worthy. You could do Kobe. You could do Shaq. You could do LeBron. You could do Pau Gasol. You could do Dwight might have been All NBA one of his years there. That one's borderline. I don't want to risk it on that. I kind of want to go Boomer again and just stick with that theme. I feel like Jerry West is Mr. Laker, but so was Elgin Baylor for a long time too.
I feel like Paul Gasol gets lost in the sauce with all those a little bit.
Yeah, I do too. And he's because he was second fiddle on that Kobe team, but I kind of like Pau too. His jersey got retired, but
but I
he was always like there was always somebody ahead of him, like that's the way Worthy was with Kareem and Magic. Like Kareem and Magic will always rightfully get the attention there, but like James Worthy's a Hall of Famer and an All NBA player in his own right.
I feel like Paul Gasol might give us the lowest number.
I think so too.
Okay.
I'm fine putting Gasol there.
Let's see, 5%.
Yeah, good guess.
That's good. That's 5%
huge. Definitely a good one.
Cool.
I would love it. I want to see the list of all the Lakers All NBA players because that's got to be pretty crazy, low key.
Yeah, we can pull it up here in a second.
All right. Let's end it now on a note because it's just always one of my favorites. I feel like I low key maybe need a cup of coffee right now. I hope it's not coming through in my voice. But for the Suns and the Spurs, our man, the barista, Boris Diaw, espresso machine in the locker, goals, a real pioneer and renaissance man, as Bill Walton would say. But yeah, 100. I'm 100%.
Boom. Oh, it didn't show us how much his percentage was,
Yeah,
but
once you X out, we'll have to see. Yeah,
yeah.
20 possible answers for
We
the
got a
Lakers for All NBA.
159 rarity score,
No,
dude.
we
That's
smoked that. That was really good.
huge.
I think this is one of our best. I mean, this was clinical today. This is a really good draw. And that's
20 20 all NBA guys would
well.
have
So
worked.
let's go to before we go to Lakers All NBA guys. Can you scroll down a little bit to just see what the most popular guesses were for everybody?
Amari Stoudemire, Mike Bibby,
Okay.
Patrick Ewing, Boris Diaw, Rudy Gay, Tim Duncan for All
Yeah,
NBA Spurs,
obvious.
Kobe for Lakers All NBA, Vlade Divac, and Steve Nash.
Yeah, I mean, and so I mean, that's why I didn't want to go Nash in that corner. I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, Stoudemire is the first
funny.
one with Suns and Knicks that I think everybody should think of. But like I said, that's also, that definitely helped too. I didn't even factor that in, probably for the rarity of All NBA.
Yeah.
I am sort of surprised Patrick Ewing beat out Melo.
Yeah. Right?
I mean, they're both equal in terms of like Knicks legend status, and I would argue Ewing maybe further with him getting to the finals.
I'm surprised that Spurs Kings was the lowest percentage gotten. Like that was the first one we got.
Yeah, but who put it this way?
They got 51 options.
Outside of Rudy Gay, though, who's number 2 for you?
Oh, yeah, you're right. Well, I can tell you some of their options.
No, like it runs out quick. Like I feel like I can definitely
Dwayne Dedman, Andre Miller.
You know, I almost said Dwayne Dedman. I was
Marco
like,
Bellinelli.
Oh, it's a good one. Yeah,
Corey Joseph, Ime Udoka, Anthony Tolliver, George Hill, Drew Gooden, Garrett Temple.
George Hill's a good one. That's a player that more people, but that's kind of my point, though. You know what I mean? Like, there's nobody that really jumps off the page. Like, there's no, with Divac, that was
Mike
such
D'Antoni.
A popular trade.
Way throwback for you.
Wait, what was the other one?
Mike D'Antoni. In 1997,
played player.
Played for the Spurs and then played for Kings 74 through 76.
Yeah, I mean, look, I for sure would have got that. I got to be honest, I forgot D'Antoni was a player. Either way, though, really happy with that rarity
Trey
score.
Lyles.
And again, if you ever want to watch the Immaculate Grid videos, they're on YouTube. Just search the Drive Edition NBA podcast. Who was that other one?
Kevin Martin. Ray McCollum. Oh, my dude.
Wait a minute. What?
Ray McCollum was there.
That's your boy?
I like him, yeah.
What?
I don't know. I just always liked him. When that was like I remember talking about him a lot when we first started the podcast. That was 14-15 when he was on the Kings.
Good for you, bro. I guess, and you know what? That makes sense, I guess, with Tim, because I'm trying to think of why on earth we would have talked about Ray McCollum. I got to be honest, I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, I really do. Obviously, him and Robertson and who else did Tim always bring up? He had another player. I think he was on the Suns that he always brought up.
There were always a couple. I mean, if you want to go back in that, I mean, it's the Morris twins. It was Jordan Clarkson was another one.
No, that's not who I was thinking. Sean Livingston, maybe? No.
Nah.
Wasn't there someone he kept bringing up? We'll have to ask him.
Yeah, I'll have to
ask him.
Yeah, I definitely have to track that. I mean, ahead of the start of the new season, that would be fitting. Welcome, everybody, to the Drive Edition NBA podcast. My name is Kevin Rayfuse. Joining me, as always, my co-host, Justin Kuzart.
Real love, real friends, authentic vibrations.
I feel you, whoever that is. That's the vibe that we try to bring here on the podcast. That feels like a Kuzma tweet. Is that Kuzma?
Nope. That is Kai Jones.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, maybe that's not in the Jesus, man. Now I gotta take everything back I just said. That was Kai Jones. Oh, that took a hard pivot. All right. Well, we're gonna talk about that later in the podcast because Kai Jones, I am genuinely hoping is well. And that's pretty much what I have to say about that at this point. But again, we'll get back to that later in the show. I do want to hit you with a fastball. Speaking of Kuz, did you see his tweet about jerseys?
No, what did he say?
Kuz is basically like one of the City Edition jerseys leaked, and it was for the Clippers, I think, and it didn't look very good, to put it
Oh,
bluntly.
well,
And so Kuz was talking about Nike and how he feels like they're just exploiting with
oh,
jerseys,
yeah.
and how if they bring new ones out, how it kind of takes away from the appeal of it. And I mean, number one, as a fashion guy, the way that Kuzma is, I'm a little surprised, but I gotta be honest, I completely disagree with him here. Like, I think the City Edition jerseys, like, yeah, some of them have stunk, and I agree with that. Where it's kind of like, because I'll be on NBA Twitter and see different markups from different graphic designers, and I'll just be like, "Yo, y'all could have called them and got this taken care of
Yeah.
way better." Where it was like, "I can't believe you paid
Well,
people to make this." But I mean, I don't know. Like, I look at some of the highs of the City Editions too, and just the other jerseys. Like, you still have your core set that never changes, but I mean, that's one of the things about soccer that I like is that they kind of switch it up every few years. Like, I think there are different takes. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm biased because the Sixers Spectrum jersey was one of the best ones that they released. That was 2 years ago now, but like that thing was beautiful. I
well,
think
and that's my
as well.
and
So
I guess that's my point is like I get what he's saying from a standpoint of like after a year it's just outdated because they've come out with another one. Whereas if you just keep going to the throwbacks, like it's never outdated from a buying jersey perspective, you know?
yeah, but I don't think it's dated though. That's the
Yeah.
thing is like a jersey to me only becomes dated, I guess, when the player's gone or if you don't really
Yeah.
like them anymore. I mean, again, I'm also of the perspective that I mean, I don't know, some people collect them. I only buy jerseys of players that I just know have been there for a long time and are going to kind of outlive the jersey, if that makes sense. Like for
Yeah.
the Sixers at this point, the only jersey I would even consider buying is Embiid. That's not an older player, put it that way. Embiid's been there long enough though that at least like afterward, like Justin, I already know how this is ending, but I'm saying he's been there long enough that I at least like, there's no one in 10 years who's going to be like, man, that's weird. You wore a Joel Embiid jersey. Like, he is one of the better players in franchise history, regardless
I
of how I think this divorce is coming.
Yeah, I get you. I'm just saying, we were just talking about how city jerseys are outdated in a year. That jersey might be outdated in a year. You never know.
You give me but I'll tell you what, the Embiid Spectrum jersey that year was cool. I mean, well, at
I
least the
know.
jersey wise was cool. The end of it wasn't cool. I don't really know of any of them have ended cool, but whatever, neither here nor there. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't agree with Kuzma there. I think some of the City Edition jerseys have been lame, but I like switching it up. I think it's good.
Yeah, I like when they come out, and I like the buzz that it creates. But I also just don't know how much the average fan really cares. Like, so for example, like the Jags, right? I know a whole different sport.
Uh-huh.
But they teased by accident a throwback night or game against the 49ers in a few weeks. Like, they called it homecoming, and they used the old logo,
Yeah.
and fans lost their mind thinking it was a throwback jersey night, which it turns out it's not. And it's like that's the excitement you're trying to get when you have a throwback jersey or something. And maybe the city edition jerseys take away from that a little bit if they're changing them every so often.
I mean, here's my counterpoint to that, though, and because I do see your side, because I look at the Eagles,
Right.
sticking with football and the Kelly Green release this year. I mean, you can't even buy them in stores right now; they're
Right.
so out of stock. But if we don't have the City Edition, you don't get a bunch of bangers that have happened too in the last few years. Like, think
Yeah.
about how much that's become part. Like, think about all the Miami Heat Vice jerseys and all the iterations of that we don't get without the City Edition. I
Yeah.
think of the Black Mamba Kobe jersey. I think of the Pelicans Mardi Gras jerseys recently. Like, there have just been some certified great all-time jerseys that you borderline you wish again stayed there for more than a year that you only got a year out of them for. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I like the creativity. I like bringing something new to every season. And look, like, you would think it's an opportunity for the team to sell merch too. Like, and I guess maybe that's the way they look at it, but I don't think it's taking away. Like, you're not wearing these jerseys. You're not, I mean, in soccer, they literally switch the home jersey every single year. If you're
Yeah.
an NBA team, you're still going to play in your classic home jerseys in every meaningful game, most likely. Though maybe not, because I look back at the Cavs when they won that title against the Warriors. They were playing in those sleeve jerseys because that's just what they got hot in. And so they kept it going. You don't want to mess with the juju, but I don't know. I'm always pro more jerseys. I think it's something that you don't even necessarily need to be a fan of the sport to be a fan of. And again, I guess that just goes back to my point as well that I'm surprised with Kuzma being a big of a high fashion guy that he is. Like that's just not the guy that I expected it from. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, I agree. So, um, I just wish I don't know. I there's got to be like a common ground somewhere in between where maybe it's like the city edition jerseys are for a few years and maybe you build up the hype around them or something and then like maybe it's a 5-year thing. Although if it's a bad jersey, you don't want it stuck with it for 5 years or something.
Well, maybe you have the option to keep the ones that are good.
Right, like, just don't replace them. If it's a fan favorite, then maybe you leave it up to the fans. Let the fans vote if they like or hate the jersey, and then if it needs to change, they'll change it the next year.
That could be so beautiful or so hideous.
Right?
And I'm kind of with you though.
Because
I
could you
would like to see
imagine
the
if, like,
chaos
if it's
for a
like a
year.
Boston jersey that's just the best thing ever, but Philly swarms the vote and makes them change the jersey?
Oh, dude, I said the biggest straw. Immediately in my head, it wasn't Philly. I said, could you imagine if Lakers fans got a hold of that and like had to wear like, purple and gold for an entire year?
Yeah.
Oh, that would be
Mm.
so offensive on so many fronts. Welcome everybody to the Driving Dish NBA podcast. Oh, we already did all that, did we? Or did we
Yeah,
not do
yeah,
that?
yeah, you just
Okay,
gotta tell them where
we're
they
at the
can
tweet.
listen.
Okay,
Yeah.
anyway, we hope that bringing back a second intro was offensive a little bit. We hope the rest of the podcast isn't. But leave us a review on iTunes, good or bad. I'll read them on the podcast. If you're not an Apple user, Google Play Store, Spreaker, Spotify, TuneIn, Amazon Music, anywhere you find a podcast, you can find us.
And you can find us on YouTube. That's where you can watch the video versions of the show. Just search Driving Dish NBA on YouTube, and we will pull up there.
And now a word from our sponsors.
So let's break down the Western Conference as a little preseason or start to the season tease. We look back to last year and the standings. The standings went, let me just make sure I got the right here. Standings went Denver Nuggets 1, Memphis Grizzlies 2, Sacramento Kings 3, Phoenix Suns, Clippers, Warriors, and then into the playoff bracket, you had the Lakers, the play-in tournament, I guess I should say. The Lakers, Timberwolves, Pelicans, Thunder, and then the teams that were out, Mavericks, Utah Jazz, Portland Trailblazers, Houston Rockets, and San Antonio Spurs. Obviously, we're going to look at projections and what we think is going to happen for next year. I would say, just reading down that list, if we're talking teams that are going to make the potential biggest leap, I feel like the easy bet would be on the Dallas Mavericks to at least get back into like the playoffs area.
Yeah, I think that's a safe bet. Now that you've got Kyrie a little more integrated,
Right.
you filled out the roster that makes a lot more sense. You're not going to hopefully be as much of a defensive travesty as you were
Right.
last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would think there's too much talent. And then obviously with one Luka Doncic on the roster for them to not be in the playoffs. When I think big leaps, the one that comes to mind is OKC. It just feels like they're
Yeah.
set to succeed. Like all their young guys. I mean, you already have a certified stud in Gilgeous-Alexander, but
Well, and even that, I mean, you grab what, say 5 more wins, right? You're in 4th place. You're tied with the Phoenix Suns as of last year with their record. So like
yeah,
it's not that big of an actual needing more wins, and then you're gonna look like you make a massive leap.
it's more of like I could see them kind of being they won't be as much of a surprise, but almost like the Sacramento of last year, where it's like I could see them being like towards the top of the conference seating wise.
Yeah.
I just really think it's there. Like Chet Holmgren looked great coming off injury in his preseason action. Like looks like he can be an instant impact. Josh Giddey's been great. His development has continued. You got Jalen Williams now with a full NBA offseason under his belt. Like there's just a lot to like. Like we talk about the war chest, but a lot of it's already there now. Like it feels like this team is ready to start winning. And this is the first year, again, with Chet missing last year, that they'll have all their pieces together. It just feels like that team is ready to rock. In terms of, but I guess when I look at it overall, I don't really see a ton changing. Like when I look at who I'm knocking out to put Dallas in, I don't really know, quite honestly. Like I don't.
Yeah.
And it gets to some of the questions for other teams, but I mean, the Spurs will improve just, I think off Wemby, but there will be a lot of growing pains there. I don't think they're instantly going to jump into the playoffs. I don't think Utah's there. I don't think Portland's there, despite all their young talent.
Yeah.
I'm excited to watch Scoot this year in particular. Same kind of deal with Houston. I think Houston will be better than last year, but I don't see them getting back into the playoff mix. I don't really know who drops. Like, I guess New Orleans is an attractive candidate depending on
I
health.
guess I guess the overall feeling though, right, is whoever does drop, if we're saying OKC pops up,
Mhm.
whoever does drop, it's gonna be real bad vibes around the team because you look at 8 up, obviously, in the Western Conference: Timberwolves, Lakers, Golden State, Clippers, Suns, Kings, Grizzlies, Nuggets. No shade at the Kings, but really after the Kings and maybe the Grizzlies, like, the expectations are to win a ring right now.
And I would argue for the Grizzlies, they are too.
Yeah,
I don't know if
yeah,
the Kings are there yet, but I think the Kings are fully expecting to be competing
right.
again. I mean, they brought I like the Kings offseason,
Yes.
honestly. They brought most of their guys back. They made, logical additions. Again, we talked about JaVale McGee a little bit during Grid. I thought that was a really good pickup for them. Um, and it will be the continued excellence of their internal guys as well. Like, it's going to be Fox, it's going to be Keegan Murray's development. Like, I think that's the key, is him taking the next step as well.
I also
Uh,
feel like it's just a little bit more winning at home, right? Like, they were 23 and 18 at home, 25 and 16 on the road. I like kind of expected it to be more like the Grizzlies, where you see the young team, right? They're 35 and 6 at home, but they were 16 and 25 on the road. Like, that kind of shows younger team vibes more than what the Kings are showing there. But a few more home wins, and yeah, you're vibing, and like you were just talking about, you're fighting for second and third in the Western Conference.
the converse to that was Golden State in terms of home and away splits last year.
Yeah.
They were 33 and 8 at
Yeah.
home. They were 11 and 30 on the road.
And not a young team at all.
No, I mean, Golden State is one of the teams to watch, even potentially for a fall off this year. Like, there are some real, again, we have to see what the Chris Paul fit is going to look like. Is he going to come off the bench? Is he going to make sure that he feels like he needs to be in the starting lineup? Like, that's worth there. Again, Draymond's getting older. Clay shows signs of decay or Clay and decay. Jeez, oh man, decline last year is what I'm
And
trying to say.
and he's been posting a little bit on IG about some contract extension negotiations, so maybe things get a little toxic.
Yeah, I mean, everybody is paid and happy there now. Like, I still do think a Clay deal will get figured out. I don't really think that'll play out too long. If they decide to move on, he'll get paid somewhere. Like, I don't think he's not going to get the money he's looking for. But
They could there's a, like, James Harden might be available.
well, yeah. I mean, Chris Paul's there, so I guess just get all the band of awkwardness together, right?
Well,
No,
and Chris Paul and Harden have history, like, they've played together, so
yeah, it's just it does feel like with the Warriors, because this is the team that is desperate, at least core wise, to prove that, hey, we got one more run in us.
we're good, yeah.
Um, I mean, they got the title a few years ago, so we know what it is, and that was the ultimate solidifying one. But it's like, it does feel like this year, for the first time in a while, that I'm not scared. I mean, Steph is still Steph, but I'm just not scared of the Warriors the way I used to be. Like, it feels like there are a couple teams better than them at this point.
Yeah, and I agree. It feels wrong to be betting against the Golden State Warriors. Like, I don't know. Would you rather say, like, a younger Memphis Grizzlies falters a little bit more with Ja? Isn't Ja out for like the first half of the
Well,
season?
so did you read John Morant, the article today on ESPN?
No.
All right, so that was the big one, and that was a big, longer piece. It was Tim McMahon and somebody else. Forgive me, to the other author, but it
Boy.
was about basically the 18 months during which obviously all this has happened,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's alarming. It's John Morant's in. You got to get this right now type territory. Like, there aren't going to be
Yeah.
many more chances. And yeah, when I look at the Grizzlies, like, that, of course, is the biggest question. Is, it's like, if they're going to contend and they're going to do this thing for real,
Back
you have to have a job back. The other thing with that core too is just I want to know if they learned the lessons from last year. Basically, if they grew up at all. Like, that's more to just
yeah.
Ja though as well. Ja's the ultimate example of that. But it's this entire core. It's Jaren Jackson. It's Desmond Bain. It's and I know they scapegoated Dylan Brooks and sent him off to Houston, but I mean, the fit there has been good. Team Canada loved him too. Like, me, like, Dylan Brooks for sure did a lot of dumb things last year, but I thought it was kind of lame the way the Grizzlies scapegoated him.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I think I wanna know if that locker room and it all does go around their leader and Ja, namely, like, they we need to know if they grew up or not. Like, the potential is still there for this team. I'm not about to write them off, especially last year because they were missing Steven Adams as well. Like, that was a big Jaren Jackson plays best when he's with another big. That was a probably bigger loss than I think most people anticipated, but, yeah, I mean, that's one of the bigger I mean, that one the Pelicans' big question is Zion. Like we all know what that is. It's all Zion Williamson at this point. Is he going to stay healthy? Can he consistently keep it together on the floor? Like I don't think we need to rehash that for the zillionth time. I mean, the race to the top for me, it's still Denver, and I've got the Lakers right there too, and I've got Phoenix right there too. I think we're probably underestimating Phoenix based off two
yeah,
things. A, how they've gone out in the playoffs the past 2 years, but you know, I feel like Bradley Beal's stock is down for sure, given the injuries and just a lot of
sure.
mediocre Wizards teams. Bradley Beal has never been a third option in his life. Like Bradley Beal, and you're already seeing it in the preseason here a little bit, is getting looks just off the gravity of Booker and Durant that I don't think he's ever had before.
Yeah,
They've got questions on the interior. Again, they brought in Nurkic, but that is the one if you have with this team. But no, I mean, I've got Phoenix. Yeah, they're still right there towards the top with me. Um, the Lakers again. I like most of the moves they made. It's a little more proven see with Christian Wood, but I like bringing Hakimura back. I love bringing Jared Vanderbilt back. So I feel like they're ready to go. Just got to keep LeBron healthy and on ice, obviously, with his advanced age at this point. I do think Denver is the team to beat, even with losing Bruce Brown. Like that core is still there. Jokic is still the best player in the world,
yeah.
along with Giannis and Steph, pretty much. So, um, I don't. I guess I don't see any big shakeups at the top. Top. The shakeups are going to kind of come in the mid tiers a little bit, but I mean, once again, this is a good conference. Like I said, I'm looking at the standings and I go, hey, okay, if I'm bringing Dallas in, I don't know who I take out. You know
Right,
what I mean?
right.
Like Minnesota should be more healthy in theory.
Well,
Towns
and
missed a
I
lot of
think
time last year. Ant's going to continue to get better.
you put a little bit of an asterisk with the Clippers because there's still potential for a trade to happen where Harden ends up over there, and that changes things as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, that is the wild because I mean, Harden apparently wasn't at Sixers practice today. Is he going to play? Is he not going to
Yeah,
play? Who knows? That'll be a game of chicken for who knows how long.
I just want it to be over.
Yeah, me too. Um, That's me about probably the entire Sixer season already, but we don't need to talk about that. No, I mean, well, and the asterisk is always with injuries too, right? It's
Yeah,
this Clippers team. We know what it is. Like every time they play together, it's brilliant. The problem is that they play together for like 2 games a year. It feels like they
yeah,
even last year they go out in the playoffs. It's like here we go, healthy Clippers. Look at them already taking it to the Suns, and then boom, just we're done already.
yep.
Um, I mean, that will always be the question for them. Um, does anybody else really like? Are there any maybe non-traditional teams? I guess. I mean, it feels like we've hit most of them. Are there any
I
that
mean,
you're
if
excited to watch that you're not? Like I mentioned Portland a little bit. I am
I
excited to
mean,
watch Scoot.
the yeah, I mean, come on. Obviously, Wemby and the Spurs. Obviously, the videos we've already seen from preseason makes it exciting. I don't know if that necessarily results in them like jumping way up the win column, but from a pure just wanting to see an athletic monster play, even from just what we've seen already from preseason, it's like, oh, that's gonna be pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, him and Chet was already electric. Like that was the
Yeah,
preseason matchup that I think everybody's talking about, and it's good to see them both look. I mean, I gotta be honest. Like Wemby looks already better than I expected. I expected him to be a little more raw, but he already looks at the bare minimum a pretty damn good defensive deterrent. And again, it's just the handle. The handle is so mind blowing for a dude that is that size. The way he's able to just get
yeah.
in the lane
I
and
mean, you
fade.
literally
Like
see him take one step from the from the free throw line, from the 3-point line, and really like effortlessly dunking. Like it's like, oh man. Or I forget which one he did, but he did like this step in, hand was up like he was gonna dump it and just turned it into a finger roll. And it's like, dude, that's not even fair. I think some
yeah,
of the NBA players were reacting like that. Like, what is this? Like, come on.
well, yeah, because it's like it's the prime example of you can play the best defense in the world, and it just may not matter sometimes. It's
Yeah.
kind of like, what am I supposed to do here? And I'm sure there will be multiple people who have that question go through their heads at some point over their career with Wemby. So, Yeah, it's Spurs definitely going to be a super fun watch this year. Much improved over last year to say the least. But let's go to the East a little bit. You already mentioned Harden, so I don't really want to dive into that a little bit.
Yeah.
But a few other quick notes before we get out of here. Peyton Pritchard signed an extension with Boston, 3-year deal, which kind of gets back to when Sam and I, and shout to Sam for coming on the last episode, Sam Albuquerque. Um, we talked about with Boston how when they let a lot of their depth go, that Pritchard was going to be one of the guys that they really needed to step up. And that they're going to give a lot of these minutes off the bench. Like he's not going to be in the starting lineup by any means, but struggled in the playoffs last year. But there's a lot of people in this organization that liked him. I think I think it's pretty telling how high they are on him, not just because of the contract, but the fact they didn't move him. Like it felt
Yeah.
like they had, plenty of opportunities to get out from under him, and even when he was struggling. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely going to be. I mean, the salary now matches the role that's going to be expected of him next year. Like Boston is going to need Peyton Pritchard if they're going to win the title to be a pretty big contributor off the bench. He's going to have to
Yeah.
knock down those open 3-pointers.
Yeah, yeah, and then I think that's what every blog is saying right now is he's such a potential for a breakout candidate this year, a breakout season, and it's like with that comes a lot of expectations. So if you don't hit those expectations, obviously things can go south pretty quick. But from what we've seen from him, from the confidence of the Celtics, you'd imagine he's up to the task.
Yeah, 4-year, $30 million. I forgot he requested a trade from the team, but instead here we are. Um, yeah, like we said, the minutes are going to go up significantly. I mean, last year down to 13 minutes a game. I mean, his rookie year is the most he ever got. He got 19. But like I say, he's going to be in this rotation and he's going to be a big part of that roster.
Yeah.
So, the onus is on him now to deliver. On a completely different note, Charlotte Hornets, they're having all sorts of fun right now, as always, it seems like. Miles Bridges got in trouble again. Apparently, this is a violation of the domestic restraining order.
Ugh.
All sorts of reports out there. I'm still stunned that Miles Bridges is employed by the team at this point. It doesn't feel like he should be. I know how good he is at basketball, but I don't know. To me, it's like, what are you not learning here? Again, it's like,
Yeah.
I thought it was nasty kind of just to stick around after what he was credibly accused of. Like, we spoke out about Kevin Porter, and that actually trade went official too to OKC for
Hmm.
2 second rounders, and then he immediately got cut, obviously, rightfully as he should. But I don't know. To me, I feel like the only reason he's getting a pass on this is just because he's better. It's because he's a good basketball player. Like he still has a lot of upside, and that's just it's kind of disappointing. It's disappointing to see from the Hornets, especially from again here with Kai Jones. Like Kai Jones has been a mess recently, to say the least. Like I truly hope that he is well mentally. I mean, because it's just been, it's been the criticism of teammates. It's been just incoherent, looks like he's inebriated speech. It's it's the response, the Terrence Ross thing, for example, too, is a perfect example. Like, is he there all mentally? And Kai Jones, like, I'm the greatest ever. And Terrence Ross is just like, okay, he's not there. Hope prayers for him.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but it is kind of weird. Like, again, Kai Jones is a first rounder for them. It's pretty weird to see them move on so quickly. And I mean, to me, it's gross to not then be moving on from Miles Bridges either. Where it's like, to me, Miles Bridges, Kai Jones, I hope gets help. Miles Bridges is credibly accused of doing something disgusting.
Yeah, and that's the thing, man. It's like it's well, we don't have to go down that line again. We've said what we think about that, like
Well, and now especially, it's like once this is done here with the violation of the restraining order, like even if you want to sell me on some second chance, which fine, like I'm not going to sit here
but
and say
that
that
was the
people
second chance.
right, like you have no benefit of the doubt anymore. Like this is a felony domestic violence charge, and now they were talking about he was putting billiard balls through a window. Like, what are we talking about here? Like,
not good, not good, not good.
and I do. I wonder what it is kind of nasty. Like, I wonder what it's going to take for Charlotte to cut ties at this point. I don't know. It's not sending the message that I think
Well,
they know they wanted to send. I know that.
yeah, exactly. And it's like, well, if not this, then when? Like, come on.
Oh
So
yeah, man. no excuse for it. But thank you everybody for listening to this episode of the Driving Dish NBA podcast. We appreciate you guys as always. Leave us a review on iTunes, good or bad. We'll read them on the podcast. If you're not an Apple user, anywhere you can find a podcast, you can find us.
Yep, and find us on YouTube. Search Driving Dish NBA. You can subscribe there, get a video version of the podcast. Obviously, when we do the grids, there's a visual with that, so you can check that out. And obviously, if you subscribe, you will get notifications when a new episode is coming out.